What?
Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome. What's going on? Good morning. Welcome to the week 1 edition of Hump Day with Hansen. I am, in fact, the Hansen portion of this broadcast. Our guy, Thomas Tipple, he's one time zone behind me. I just learned, confirmed he's ready to rock and roll. So it's not that early for Thomas. 9:33 local for him. I'm at 10:33. That's the time we're going to pop this thing out every hump day. And why hump day? Well, let's just start there. It's the worst day of the week. Let's be honest here. The whole hump day thing, okay, it gets us, it helps a little bit, but after a while, okay, I don't care about hump day. It's a day that doesn't have much of an identity. It's also midweek and early in the day, obviously. So it's, kind of the toughest little window we have. We're still kind of doing the analysis. We haven't seen the injury report yet. We've got to really, dig deep into the matchups, and we're not really totally ready to do that on a Wednesday. So I think we'll remind people of this as much as we can. I am going to come every week with some actual content. Once we get past this week, a lot of it will be players to trade and trade for. And we open up the Q&A, of course, but we are definitely going to prioritize this year more general questions that, we can address for the audience, not just the who do I start questions and all that. We'll take them. We'll do our best. But I will say, Thomas and I have discussed this. We are going to prioritize questions like, what do you think is going to happen in the Jets backfield? Things like that. Right, Thomas? Because the who do I start stuff, and I've been dealing with this for decades. It is a challenge because you want to kind of address everyone, and yet each individual person, we thank you for viewing. We know you want your question to ask, but we got to find a way to kind of be a little bit more general, Thomas, don't you think, as opposed to just these straight up who do I start questions?
Well, that's right. And this year, Fantasy Points has gone beyond what we've done previously with start and sit. We have a Monday start and sit. We have Thursday start sit. We have a Discord subscriber premium start sit on Sunday mornings before final points. There are more ways to access not just that, but you have the AI tool if you are an all-in subscriber that can help you with that. You've got the Guru ranks. We've got projections, everything you need for start and sit. I would prioritize this time with the Guru if you're watching and listening with questions that might be something you can't solve with one of the many other shows and tools, like Guru said. And today, I think you have some great topics. We have what are we excited for week 1? Yeah. We have some answers to some of the toughest calls in 2025 before we open it up to the Q&A. I see Rob's super chat we will get to. We've got some other draft questions here. And then in the Q&A portion, I will just be kind of picking what I think will end up being the best question. So if your question does not get responded to, ask it after the show. Just like last week, I sat after the show went off the air. I sat in the YouTube comments and replied to every single question that was left. I will continue to do that for everybody, just to let you know you are heard here at Fantasy Points. Of course, you can subscribe if you're not with the code on the screen, YouTube 10. You can use the QR code as well on screen. Guru, I'm ready if you're ready. What are you excited for the week 1 season?
Well, real quick before we get into it, I'm very excited about this new desk I have. So I'm still trying to figure it out in terms of the height of the desk. But let me show off a little bit here. See this? So we can go.
Yeah, you got one of those.
Whoa! Look at that! Whoa! We can go down. I'm not even wearing shoes right now, so we don't want to go too far down.
That's right.
I am in fact barefoot. I have bathed today, though. I have bathed today, so
all right.
We're ahead of the game. Let's all right, yeah. So as you mentioned, we want to make this a little topical. Actually, have some content. So that's what we'll do at the top. Now, next week we'll focus on players to trade and trade for. Like a Wednesday morning is a really good time to do that. maybe even before the injury report comes out. You want to do some business here in the trade market. I do love doing that. I've been doing it for a number of years. As I always say, it shockingly is one of the most popular articles that I do. And I think part of the reason is it's pretty solid. I mean, I really focus, home in on, all the opportunities, buy low, sell high, all that stuff. But in terms of things that I'm excited about for, just to see in week one, and, we're going to get into the analysis here as well. And Thomas came up with 5 things. And by the way, they're mostly low end teams and players. Like, I'm excited to see Joe Burrow throw a football this week, but I know Joe Burrow is going to excel throwing a football.
That's right.
So like we're good there. Well, I guess I got to start with JJ McCarthy and the Vikings. I really don't want to be a broken record, so I'll kind of skip past it. But we don't have access to the results. We're trying to predict the future. I feel extremely confident that this is going to work out well. I just don't think people truly understand how great of a situation this is. And I do, because unfortunately for me, I've been struggling and suffering for half a century. But Thomas, here's a point. And I think some of the points I haven't made a ton about JJ. Let's real quick, the concerns. I don't have many. The accuracy might be something to watch out for. It's a little off. He, had a couple throws sail on him, but just missed a couple. And then can he put touch on the ball when it needs to be? You don't want to be out there firing fastballs like Nolan Ryan. Did Nolan Ryan ever throw a changeup? Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Yeah, if he did, it was 95 miles an hour. So yeah. I don't know if it mattered.
Exactly. But we got to take some, we got to throw it with some touch at times, some timing, things like that. Cause he does, kind of sling it out there, like, put a lot of juice on them. But I just don't think people realize, again, how good of a situation it is. Look, we all know about the receiving core. I think it's the best in football right now. I've been saying over and over again, this is the best offensive line, at least on paper, that they've had in a long ass time. But the offense is very, very quarterback friendly. I mean, how did Sam Darnold do it? This is how. So, one thing I've been kind of hammering is like all these, and I love Joe Burrow from day one, even when he was in college. But come on, dude, like, can you go under center once in a while? I know he did a little bit more last year, but I had heard that he's like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do that, like a year ago. Right. And I'm like, well, that's not healthy, because he can do it, obviously. And as you know, Thomas, so many opportunities open up, and that's kind of the offense. Like, get him under center, a lot of play action, and define the read. It's easy. I mean, pretty much it's easy. So I think JJ might actually do better than Darnold. I know that seems insane, but you know what else seems insane? To opine that Sammy Darnold's going to be a top 10 quarterback with 30 tutties 365 ago, right?
Exactly. So. We actually got some pushback when you joined us on Dynasty Points. We weren't high enough on JJ McCarthy's rushing upside. We've got comments of easily over 500, 600 yards are potential with his athleticism. I don't know if it's that much. I view him as more maybe mid-career Russell Wilson, 500 kind of being the top out. But my only thing it would be great. My thing with JJ, I think the Vikings are going to try to ease the pressure. Probably the first 2 to 3 games, they'll try to run the ball more than we want to see. Yeah. But I see them being an easy 1.5 over expected with the pass rate, because O'Connell's still O'Connell. He's going to do his thing. Exactly. Don't be disappointed in the first 3 weeks, and especially in week 1.
Right.
Let's remember that they're going to ease him in, I think.
I do. I agree. He'll because there's 2 things going on here. You have JJ coming from, very conservative offenses, not a high volume guy, making his first start. And they went out and got Jordan Mason. That was my first thought when Mason signed. When was that? Way back in March. They kind of paid a little bit for him. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're going to ease him in here and run the rock. But on the other hand, O'Connell is Mr. Pass Happy. So they're going to evolve toward O'Connell as the season progresses, I believe. Here's another one, and these next 4 are all low-end teams. This is why I'm excited, because we might get some more fantasy goodness than we're used to. Number 2 on my list, Tom, I know people are going to roll their eyes, but Danny Dimes is back, and I can't wait to see it. I really can't, because I would argue that this is the best environment that he's ever had, and this is a team that I don't even know what they won last year. What, they won 7 games last year?
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, but I don't think, and they lost some guys on the offensive line, but they still have some studs. Nelson, Raymond at left tackle, Braden Smith. I mean, it's still a pretty good O-line. I would say the best that he's ever had. And then when you look at Jonathan Taylor, it's the best blocking plus running game that he's ever had. And
Right.
Shane Steichen is good. He not that we've seen that, maybe we're kind of blinded because of Anthony Richardson, but he did an unbelievable job with Justin Herbert. Then he did an unbelievable job with Jalen Hurts. He's fighting for his job. Can't lose any more games here. This is, I believe, why Danny Dimes is starting. It's like, I'm not putting my last chance saloon in freaking Anthony Richardson's hands. So I'm really, really excited, because our guy Josh Downs, man, he's not getting the love. I don't think I know he's a little banged up, and he always is, but Thomas, I don't think people are really baking the upside of Josh Downs into his ADP, because I've been getting him at like a wide receiver 4 in like round 9 or 10. Man, that's pretty good.
That's right. I talked on VSiN with you yesterday when I mentioned that if you're looking for somebody like Brian Thomas Jr. or Ladd McConkey last year, well, look no further than Josh Downs later in a draft. 15.7 points per game in games that Anthony Richardson did not either finish or didn't play altogether. Now it is Daniel Jones, and unfortunately, Guru, I think we see Anthony Richardson on the field for at least 3 to 4 games, especially if this season goes south. It might be a last-ditch effort. So I think that is where some of the hesitation is. But I believe Michael Pittman Jr. was also 15-ish, even 14 and a half plus points per game in games that Anthony Richardson didn't start. It's not just Downs, it's the whole offense. And last night on Dynasty Points, I gave my dark horse to finish as the RB1 overall. That's Jonathan Taylor.
Ooh.
I feel a lot of the same ways that you do about Taylor. He's my dark horse to finish as the RB1. I do think, though, unfortunately, we get Anthony Richardson, for better or worse, for at least a couple of games this year. And
Yeah.
I also see Mile High. Pittman was playing with a severely injured back. By the end of the year, he was also playing pretty well, not as afraid of somebody like Pierce, but somebody like Jones in the lineup.
Always loved Michael Pittman. I was a big Michael Pittman guy. I came on the show a couple of times. I've actually got his cell. I should reach out, because good dude, but I don't bother these guys. I never want to do that. But anywho, by the way, I'm looking at some of the data points here as we gear up for week 1. Colts are 1.5 home favorites this week. In 2024, Taylor averaged 124.3 rushing yards a game in wins. And over the last 2 seasons, 72% more fantasy points per snap while leading than while trailing. Of course, part of that is Anthony Richardson capping his upside in the passing attack. In games that AR started and attempted more than 5 passes last year, Taylor averaged just 5.1% target share. But in games that Richardson didn't start, his target share more than doubled, so to 10.6, which isn't incredible, but it's better than 5.1.
Right.
And, Danny Dimes, I think, will be a boost to him. He can run in 8, 9, 10 himself, Danny Dimes, but I think he's less of a threat to Vulture than AR.
Richardson. Right.
Yeah. And I regret it, because last year on the podcast we had my man LaDainian Tomlinson on, and he warned me about AR hurting Taylor, but I was still in on Tayller. But hey, Taylor was RB7 last year. I mean, if that's a bad year, I'll take it.
Damn near league winning at the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I think he had 1 touch this summer. I don't know if you saw it. Shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, he looks good.
There's only one touch, but I'm telling you, I was like, wow, look at that acceleration. He is fresh. He was like a 9-yarder. My other story thing that I'm excited about, moving on, the Jags. They literally have been Jags, but they might lift up and level up, if you will, a little bit with Liam Cohen. Very excited about it. I mean, we gotta get decent protection. There's a lot of asks here, but I'm absolutely fascinated by Travis Hunter. And for what it's worth, I did have my guy Adam Schefter on the VSiN show yesterday, and I didn't prepare him for it. I'm like, all right, you and I were a couple of old heads. We've been around the block. Where are you with Travis Hunter? Are you in? Are you out? Are you indifferent? And he's with me. He's like, I don't see it. Probably will have some big moments. And in those moments, the Travis Hunter people are going to be like, oh, yeah, see, told you. I'm not saying he's not a potential transcendent athlete. I'm just saying I'm not taking him at 60 overall. Where were you on Hunter this year?
I'm all in.
Oh.
But not only am I all in, we're all in with the Jags themselves. Do you want to hear a quote that came out about Liam Cohen?
Yeah.
Warren Sharp posted this. This is a quote from an unnamed coordinator. It says, quote, "It's not just the plays themselves, but the way the plays were sequenced. He was able to be one step ahead of us a lot, which is rare." An NFC coach said, "I would actually say he's probably the only guy that was one step ahead of us all year. I was really impressed with that. He's forced us to change a lot of stuff during the season. Honestly, I was impressed by it." Defensive coordinators are impressed with how he sequences games, schemes people up. I'm all in on Hunter, more of a wide receiver too, probably than not. Our guy Ryan Heath said that his big hot take last night on Dynasty Points was that Brian Thomas Jr. finishes with the receiving triple crown.
Well, I had a hot take yesterday. I had a hot take yesterday myself where I picked him plus 3,500, I believe, to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he could have a legitimate Justin Jefferson type breakout season with this offense. And yes, it's less about the running back room right now in Jacksonville, but I'm in on Hunter. I could see him most definitely posting a solid wide receiver 2 type season, if not a Lad McConkey-esque type season this year in that offense. The only thing holding them back, unfortunately, is Trevor Lawrence. But if Liam Cohen is the guy that is this touted, this quarterback whispery, then yes, I think he could do it, get the most out of Trevor Lawrence. And I think the Jaguars could actually be an exciting team this year, finally.
Yeah. To your point, though, hold on a second. I did have a train of thought there that I absolutely just lost. I'm not saying that Travis Hunter is a bum. You know what I mean? I guess what I'm trying to say is it does I said this yesterday to Schefter, but it does bother me a little bit. I'm not saying you are, Thomas, but like these analysts who love everybody, you know.
Oh yeah, this drives me crazy.
It's annoying because I say, oh yeah, I loved him, you know, after the fact, but I also say, yeah, I didn't like him.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean? So I try to offer context. Like, yeah, I wasn't in on this guy, but he exceeded my expectations. Here's why, and all that. So I there's going to be buzzkills. There's going to be problems every year. So I try and home in on the situations where I think people are going a little. People need to simmer down a little bit. That's all. I could be dead wrong, but this is just it's more about long-term investing as well. You know.
Well, there's a reason on our shows why I am called and referred to as the paragon of objectivity. And it is simply because I like to look at things at an objective way, because in the content streets, in hashtag big fantasy, the fantasy football industrial complex, it is every rookie and sophomore player to the moon. And it makes me crazy because there are, like you said, always disappointments. We're all in. And then all of a sudden depth charts come out and now we're panicked. Now Zacchaeus is going to push us off a burden when we were to the moon all off season. So like you said, objectivity matters, looking at it from a level lens. That's why I'm thinking more wide receiver 2. I don't see the wide receiver 1 upside, but I think a mid to low range wide receiver 2 for Hunter is within the realm of possibility, while understanding his defensive role is likely to increase.
I mean, he could absolutely do that. I think he's going to have to make some big plays on that. I don't know about the volume, but he certainly could make those big plays. It's an analyst's nightmare where, let's say a receiver like this, where you pretty much get it all right, but the guy makes it like one big play a week, and it evens out everything. Like, 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he's not having a good game, and then he catches a 40-yard touchdown. Like, oh yeah, got that wrong. I was right for most of the game until I wasn't. Next up, I am very excited about the Patriots offense. I think we've kind of been in on some players here. Absolutely, Travion Henderson. I'm very happy that I came up with on July 30th my list called the 12, like my 12 players that are critical to executing my draft plan, and basically my 12 favorite picks and all that. Didn't have to change the list all summer. Had 12 on July 30th, still have 12, the same guys. So we didn't have any injuries, and I was not inclined to make any changes, and Travion Henderson was on the list on July 30th, and now he's on everyone's list. I wrote in the Good Vibes article, like, I've been doing this 30 plus years. I've never seen a guy look this good in the summer and not be great, period. Like, so I don't know if he's going to be as good as Alvin Kamara, but that was probably the last time I was like that. I thought it was that eye-opening. Like, wow, look at this guy, the way he's moving compared to everybody else in the field. I mean, Henderson has looked really explosive. And he finished a run on the right side. I'm like, in the preseason where he finished a run hard. I'm like, damn. I mean, this dude is playing tough in the preseason, so we're good there. I kind of like Diggs.
Yeah, undervalued.
He is, yeah. I kind of think it'll kind of be pared down a little bit like the target tree. I think it'll be Diggs, Henry, and rotation inside probably with Douglas, and then a little booty action, man. Keyshawn Booty. I know it's probably not a great path to great relevancy on this team, but he's a pretty talented guy.
He is.
He's continued to come up.
He's kind of the forgotten LSU standout wide receiver
100%.
because of some off field and then injuries and whatnot. But I'm looking for Kyle Williams to be the most explosive receiver on that team. But I think Henderson actually ends up third on this team in receptions and targets now with Josh McDaniels back in the mix. They've already called him their best downfield receiving threat.
Wow.
So I think Henderson has a legit chance to break out that way, 60 plus receptions in year one with Josh McDaniels calling the shots. And I'm just not impressed with most other wide receivers, but I'm looking forward to see what Kyle Williams can do.
Oh yeah. No, I think Kyle Williams is a really good prospect. My first thought when I watched him was a little Deontay Johnson there, a little bit of a quick twitch guy, but I do think he's going to probably need some time, and they need that. I've been saying this forever. Like, can we get some juice here in New England? And their answer for half a decade is no. But maybe now.
Maybe now. All right, Goo, we're at 24 minutes. If you've got some last what you're looking forward to, we can rapid fire those before moving on to your tough calls.
One more, Cam Ward and the Titans. Cam Ward, just be decent, and I think all indications are he'll be decent. Don't suck. Be better than Will Levis, which isn't a big ask at all, because Will Levis, I mean, the guy's out there, man. I said it's like the worst vibes I've ever had for a quarterback in 20 years at the combine. Will Levis. I love the O-line and their potential. A lot of pedigree there, a lot of high draft picks. Pollard's getting the ball. I don't love anyone else here. I mean, Ayamanor, I am very, very into as a very late pick, long-term thing for the year. But really, it's like Cam Ward don't suck. O-line, start road grading. Get it going as soon as you can for Pollard, and all about Calvin Ridley. Basically,
That's
like
right.
Cam Ward, don't suck, and get the ball to Calvin Ridley, who still gets open. He's a separatist and all that. All right. Well, you know what? You want me to barrel through my 10 big questions and my answers to the questions, and then I'll just do it real quick.
Let's hammer through it.
I'll go from 10 to 1. Number 10, will RJ Harvey take over Denver's backfield? Now, I did talk with Adam Schefter about this yesterday, and he's been my Denver insider for 25 years. He's still, pretty dialed in there in Denver. Got to be patient, By the way, if you didn't draft RJ Harvey, I'm telling you right now, in about 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I think we are going to be talking about RJ Harvey in a couple of weeks for sure.
Absolutely. So lower the expectations here the first couple of weeks. He hasn't looked amazing this summer. The game may need to slow down a little bit for him. Maybe some vision issues here, but I still know that Sean Payton loves him, and J.K. Dobbins is going to wear it out. So big question. Will RJ Harvey take over Denver's backfield? The answer is yes, but it might take a minute. Number 9, can the Bucs stay hot on offense and keep producing big totals? Hate to be a buzzkill here, but I'm going to go with no. And look, we all know Baker's turned a corner. He's really good. Ibuka's really good. Mike Evans is going to make the haul, all that stuff. O-line looks good. However, they did lose Liam Cohen. You had mentioned just a moment ago, Thomas, like the art of play calling and keeping a defense off balance and on their toes. I mean, they don't have that anymore in Liam Cohen. So we'll see. I know the offense is not going to change all that much, but you don't have that play caller. Plus, you do have these injuries, Thomas. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little worried. I guess Kate Otton's trending toward playing, but where are you on the Bucs?
I think they're fine. I think they regress. I mean, normally when you see a player go so far above their career averages like Baker has, really 2 straight years, but last year was a remarkable outlier, over 40 touchdowns. He turns the ball over pretty much more than any other player in the league. He gets away with a lot, but he has that, quote, dog in him that really helps prop him up. I agree with you. Back-to-back seasons losing coordinators like Canales and then Cohen. I think this is the year it catches up to him. I've heard vibes with Mike Evans being off. He's kind of achieved everything that he can.
Really?
And, yeah, this is something that Scott had mentioned on a School of Scott podcast. So I'm willing to take his sources on that, and I could definitely see that coming. Mike Evans has nothing left to play for. He has done it all at this point. So I can definitely see some regression. I think they're going to miss Chris Godwin more than more than they let on at the start of the year. I like
McMillan. I mean, they're thin. God forbid Evans goes down. Now what?
Wirfs as well. So I think Bucky is probably and Egbuka are probably the only 2 in this offense I'm excited about. Dynasty points has been fading Baker Mayfield's ADP all off season.
All right. Well, next one is, will the Chiefs offense actually make big plays this year? I mean, it's a big ask. I mean, let's be honest here. But I'm going to go with yes. As I've stated, our guy Kaplan opined this. I've heard it elsewhere. In fact, I thought it would be the case last year, and I was incorrect. But they're sick of it. I'm sick of it. We're sick of it. I understand defenses have adjusted, but come on, man. You got Pat Mahomes here, and it's like watching paint dry. So I laughed at Tyquan Thornton when people were into him for the Patriots. I'm like, yeah, guess what? No, it's not happening. But he did make that big play in the preseason. He can run like the wind, and he might actually be a guy that they like a lid lifter kind of a guy. Because we got to decompress this puppy, man. Create some space for Kelsey. Maybe Worthy can do some more things downfield. Hollywood Brown too. He can run. So yeah, I think the Chiefs will definitely be more explosive this year. Number 7, will Quinshon Judkins go down as a good pick? Yes. I'm already there, Thomas. I've been doing FFPC drafts. the last 2 nights actually, and I'm taking them. I'm taking them left and right. I just took them actually last night, and let me go over that real quick because I mean I loved his tape. I
Yeah.
was very high on him.
Graham Barfield, again, when he dug deep, a lot of people were talking about his he can't break tackles. That's in Graham Barfield's yards created. He ranked better than Trevion Henderson in this regard. He definitely, it was a little bit overblown in what he couldn't do instead of looking at what he can do, especially in that offense. I'm just all in on this entire rookie class for running backs. So I'd love to hear what you have.
Well, how about this? In FFPC draft, the main event, the big puppy, 3 picks in a row in round 10 were Bashal Tootin.
Mm-hmm.
I took Judkins, and then Sampson went. Exactly. So between my Judkins pick and the Sampson pick, who wins that one?
I think it's gonna be Sampson early, but I don't believe in Jerome Ford at all. It's like Sampson's gonna have the clear path early, but I think by the end of the year, I think they could be leaning pretty heavily on Judkins. But that man needs to get signed. He has to hurry up. That's the only thing that could really stop him. He
may play week 1.
Yeah, I've heard he can sign today, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it'll be sometime during the week. And if it's not during the week, it'll be sometime. It's just a continuous process. And then he's got to ramp up. He's a rookie. It is a difficult offense. But I think by the end of the year, I think talent will prevail and he'll kind of take over. But unfortunately, I think Sampson's going to have enough runtime to carve out a role that he would not have had the opportunity had the incidents not popped up.
Yeah, I mean, I just go back to they took Judkins with the 36th pick of the draft.
Yeah,
that's like a first-round pick nowadays. It's close. So anyway, here's the team from 9 FFPC main event tight end premium. From 9, I went Nico Collins because I love Nico this year, but I also thought maybe Brian Thomas would make it back to me, and I might try that. And I missed it by 1 pick. He went right in front. That would have been pretty sassy. But instead, I went Derrick Henry. Hello. Came back. I took Travion. I should have probably taken Tet McMillan. I was eyeballing that, but I took Travion. Come back, Devontae Adams. Yeah, I'm hanging in there with Adams. I wanted, believe it or not, I'm warming up to Marvin Harrison. Came back Ricky Pearsall. Everyone loves a Ricky now. TJ Hawkinson, of course. I had to get him. Warren, Jalen Warren. I like him still. They signed him to an extension, by the way. That's not a bad sign. 2-year deal.
We're going to talk about a question later that asked about Caleb Johnson.
Okay. Jordan Mason, Josh Downs. Then I come back with Judkins, my guy Mooney, Brenton Strange, my tight end 2. Then I go rounds 13, 14, JJ McCarthy and Jordan Love. They're going to get 60 touchdowns.
That's right.
I got both of them outside of the top 150. Romeo Doubs, Deontay Thornton, Vikings D, Kareem Hunt. I mean, Kareem Hunt scoring 7 touchdowns again this year, or 8. Elijah Arroyo and Tyler Loop. There it is. I like that team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good. It's good, really good depth and explosion. What do you got next?
Are the vibes as bad as they seem in Miami? Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
It's just, it's one of those deals, like, it looks so bad that they'll probably be like 4-2 through week 6, but then they'll probably fold like a cheap tent. Number 5, will the Jets jet? Yes, they will. Let's move on to number 4. Will the 49ers bounce back this year? Little suspect margin for error, so you worry about that a little bit. I'm a yes on that. You know, by the way, I kind of tried to say it in my articles, at least good vibes, bad vibes, that, you know, this Juwan Jennings might just be a little butthurt about his contract. And yeah, I know he had a calf. He's practicing this week. So in 3-4 weeks, we could be looking pretty good. You know, get DeMarcus Robinson back. Ayuk maybe is looking like he might return week 5-6. Number 3, will Matthew Golden emerge quickly as the clear alpha in Green Bay? I'm going to say yes. It's a big ask. I've really warmed up to Tucker Kraft down the stretch. we all know Romeo Dobbs is solid, and there's been some good moments there, but I don't know what is up with Jaden Reed. So my guy, Bo Melton, wrong Melton, he's now playing corner. So they need him, and he's looking up to the test. So yes. And then number 2, will Aaron Rodgers keep the Steelers' offense afloat all season? I'm going to say yes, but barely, and it'll be due to low volume and a good defense. That's how they're going to play, I believe. Can Ben Johnson get Caleb Williams locked in as their long-term starter? That's number 1. I'm going to go no.
Okay.
I'm going to go no. I observed Caleb, and I'm like, wow, this summer, because I was around him for kind of the whole day one day at his combine, and like he's all gregarious and like bubbly. I'm like, all right. But now he's like, man, he looks like a man who's been coached hard, and I just don't know if it's going to go well. I mean, could be totally wrong. There's a lot to work with here. Just a little bit of a hot take, but I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, that's a tasty one. I don't think Caleb Williams has to do much, but you know what's giving me the weirder vibes? I called Ben Johnson, like he had a little Matt Patricia in him where he's trying to install the like Detroit Lions thing. Not saying that he's a bad coach, but I thought he was trying a little bit too hard with like berating Burden openly, etc.
Right.
Man, Burden
trying to be a hard ass, right? He's trying to be a hard ass.
Trying to install a culture, right. And we've seen that fail in multiple times. I actually think he turns the Bears offense around, and if their defense holds tight, I have the Bears making the playoffs, Guru.
I mean, they could look. I mean, they're playoffs. They're one of those fascinating teams where I mean, you really could go either side of the ledger on, because
that's right. It's either going to be pretty good. It's either going to be they pick like top 7 in the draft, or they sneak in as the last wild card spot. Yeah, I don't think there's an in between with this team at all with how they're built. But Burden changed his number again. This is the 3rd time. I don't remember.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he went from 87 to 13, and now he's 10. So I don't know what is happening, but before playing a snap, change your number 3 times. I think that's a little weird, but yeah, sus. We'll see what happens with the Bears. I think it is time, Guru,
let's go.
Dive into some of the questions that I have selected. You can keep asking them, and I may get to those ones. I may not, but remember, if your question is not answered, post them when the live ends on the comment section in the video. Not only does it help us, you can drop a like as well. It helps us a lot, but I will make sure to sit here and answer those questions. Let's kick it off. We have a super chat here from Rob Milner, late round 2 pick going after wide receiver. There's Chase, Bucky, and Bowers here. He went wide receiver in round 1. He's looking for his late round pick here. I have it pretty clearly Bowers. What say you, Guru?
Bowers, but it stinks because, I mean, I love Chase, and Bucky should do very well, but I gotta go Bowers. I mean, I really do. I might be a little higher on Bowers than others. I mean, I've got him. Is it me, or has his ADP gone down a little bit?
A little bit. It has in redrafts for sure. In Dynasty, it stayed about the same, but in redraft for sure, there's been a slight dip in the Bowers. I blame Ryan Heath.
Yeah. Well, I've got him at 14 overall. ADP is 20.
There you go.
And that is higher than the running backs. Again, love Chase, but Chase Brown. But Bowers, come on now. I mean,
for me, this is Bowers, Chase, Bucky on the pecking order.
That's where I'm at. Yep.
There we go. Me and Guru lined up. Rob with another $2 super chat. We appreciate you. Better pick at the 103. He might have already made this pick, but is it JJ or CeeDee Lamb? And a little bit of why.
Oh. I mean, I think I gotta go JJ here, just because like you could argue, the Vikings have all these weapons, but the Cowboys could also implode. CD, the vibes weren't wonderful last year. I know the holdout probably didn't help, right? That was the last year. Yeah, I mean, I can't go away from a team that I picked to win the Super Bowl, which
That's
is
fair.
ballsy, obviously. I just call them the way I feel them or see them. I mean, again, I have literally never predicted the Minnesota Vikings to even make a Super Bowl.
Okay. I have it CeeDee Lamb. I think he can be. I think he will. He's my wide receiver 1 this season. They have nothing. We talked about this.
I know.
Dak
Oh, I
Prescott
know.
was the buy yesterday. They've got nothing. Like 170 targets is possible. Wasn't that long ago that CeeDee Lamb was right there in this spot again. A healthy Dak is what it really comes down to. Not as worried about Pickens. They have no running game, so it depends on if it maybe the hamstring's the tiebreaker. I don't know, but we've definitely got look, we're splitting hairs here with some of the best wide receivers in the league. I think you're going to be happy either way. We have Ethan Batterman, hey Guru from South Jersey. Last minute draft tonight. Any new late round flyers you're excited about if you got one or two?
Yeah. I've warmed up to Xavier Legette. I mean, that's not very late. I mean, I guess it's like it's late, but it's not that late. Nothing in Philly or Dallas, Tampa, Atlanta. Not really. KC Chargers. Hunt. I mean, he's just going to do it again, Kareem Hunt. He's going to do it again. He's going to be annoying. I mean, you seeing that too, Thomas?
Yeah, I think Hunt is another free. I like all free running backs. I prefer to call it any RB on the 52 is kind of how I view things. I think he's going to be annoying. I like the Harold Fannin call in chat as well. That is another late round flyer. It's gonna be. I think Hunt is gonna be very annoying, very annoying.
I mean, he's good. He's like a battering ram. This guy.
That's right. He's got less juice in it than a dried lemon, but he's gonna be annoying at the goal line.
Totally. I thought he was done cooked like 3 years ago.
That's right. Off the street last year and was productive.
Yeah, but he is cooked compared to the. What is that? 2018 Hunt?
Mm-hmm.
Because that dude had some juice. He had some lateral agility. Now he's just a bulldozer. Tennessee, Denver. We're talking late round. Pittsburgh. I'm not really. I'm just not feeling that. Cleveland. I mean, Judkins. He's not that late. Miami, Indy. Nah, I guess Legette's a pretty good one that I've really warmed up to. But yeah, a lot of these dudes that I've been getting a good vibe on, they're, I guess, moving up in the world, and they're not. I will also say, I do think that the waiver wire is going to be pretty active. It may not be lucrative, but it's going to be really active because I think there are a lot of scenarios that we just don't know about, like the Raiders receivers. Well, first of all, Adam Schefter told me yesterday that, the Raiders don't want to trade Myers. So how does that work? But like, what's the deal there? Does Thornton get consideration early in the season? Is Besh the guy to look at early in the season, or Tucker? I mean, like there's a lot that we just don't know about. Here it is. Here's the guy. Tesla. I am just getting such an old school sleeper vibe from like 1996 watching Isaac Tesla. I
have a hard time with the Lions and guys like Tesla, even though he was my pre-draft late round favorite flyer.
Oh, was he?
The NFL draft on Dynasty points. They scored 70 touchdowns last year. That is fourth best all time. I have a hard time seeing this offense getting better. It's not too often the too many mouths to feed problem is real.
True.
It might be real now, and their defense is not going to be stuck with what? They had 8 starters on IR at one point, I think.
True.
for the
Very
Lions,
true.
and they're
Yeah.
coming back. I have a hard time. Even this Jameson Williams wide receiver 1 season thing has been driving me crazy. I feel like Tesla is definitely more of a role player, classic preseason hype type guy. He should be a late round stash just in case something happens. I mean, who knows? Jameson Williams gets suspended again, or God forbid something more serious with injuries, etc. But I have a hard time with that. I think I like Thornton from Las Vegas a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I like Tesla as the player. I think
Right.
he's the Jameson replacement next year. So if you're in Dynasty, this year is the year to be in. Just the Lions offense getting better. I don't know where it's so hard for that to happen. So hard.
I'm with you on that real quick, by the way.
Yes.
My point, and I'm not actually that high on Amon-Ra. I am in on Jameson to further ascend. I've been in on that all the way. Thing about Tesla is he's a big play guy. That's it. I mean, he's a big guy who runs really well. I think he's underrated, explosive, and athletic. So I'm expecting potentially him to do a lot with a little, like make some big plays. That's all. Just a classic old school sleeper.
You know who he's going to remind me of? Nick Westbrook-Akine from last year.
Yeah.
Every catch was kind of a touchdown. I could see that being something for him this year, and again, a larger role next year. I'm going to make one of my first calls of the year here, Guru. Next year, Tesla is going to be one of the most talked about must-add players in Dynasty and redraft next season, all off season. Because again, I don't see them paying or being able to pay someone like Jameson Williams. We have but I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm going to go McCrackrun. I don't know. 330. Last RB spot, 14 team PPR.
Mr. Akron.
Mr. Akron. There you go. See, that's why I need the Guru sometimes. Last RB spot, 14 team PPR. Quinshawn, Woody Marks, or Chris Robinson. It's
the Black Crows, Chris Robinson. A little overrated. I was still pissed that he married Kate Hudson. I'm like, what's that all about? That one song they had that came out in like 91. I thought it was a ripoff of an old Chicago song. Oh no, not Chris Robinson.
We're getting a music lesson.
Chris Rodriguez.
Yes.
What is that song? Remedy.
Yes.
Was a ripoff of Chicago's Feeling Stronger Every Day, I believe. But
I never put 2 and 2 together.
I was actually a rock and roll disc jockey on the air when that song came out, literally the day it came out. And I was like, here's a new one from coming at you with some Chicago ripoff. I almost said that, but I was like, nah, I won't go there. I won't be mean. But, Chris Rodriguez dropping some weight. Friend of fantasypoints.com, by the way, if you recall, we interviewed him a couple of years ago.
That's right.
I mean, he does look pretty good. And I think he's going to get a chance. I think, though, first sign of trouble, they're going to look at Bill.
That's right.
So I think Woody Marks looks pretty good. I think he's interesting very late. I thought he had a couple of runs where I thought he showed some really interesting power because he's known as a receiver, but it's Quinshawn Judkins all day long.
That's right. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I can't disagree with that.
I love I really think Judkins. I mean, again, I'm no scout. That's why we bring those types in. I'm not a data person. That's why we bring those people in. I'm just like, I have my knowledge base of 30 years. I've got my vision, my God gift to sight. I process it all, and it, guys just pop to me, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. When I watch Judkins, I'm like, wow, this guy's kind of old school. I got a little Marshawn Lynch vibe there. Think he could be a 3-down bell cow who runs with great physicality, but also some lateral juice and juice in general, So yeah, we shall see. But I was very high on Judkins just watching, all his tape and stuff.
That's right. He's either going to pop or he's not, but I'm all in on the upside. We're not afraid of a zero here. We want, like Scott Barrett would say, upside wins championships. FP, early bird subscriber. Nice to see you back again. Like last week when we started seeing some regulars pop back in, We're getting more regulars pop back in, and that fills me with joy. Happy to see you back once again.
I am all for the people who work in corporate America to waste corporate America's money.
That's
by wasting time and focusing on fake football and watching Hump Day with Hansen. I'm all for it. I'm here for it. Literally. I'm here for it. Literally.
That's why we're here. Yes, absolutely. Look, poop on company time and do fantasy drafts on company time.
Exactly.
It goes without saying. We have a little bit of a strategy-based question here, Guru. We probably got a couple more before we get out of here. He says, my drafts have all consisted of mid-level QBs, low-end tight ends, one high-end RB, and wide receiver, mid-wide receivers, and a bunch of rookie RBs. How do I prove this? As I like it during the drafts, but afterwards I feel uneasy. And I feel like this is the type of thing that a lot of drafters go through. It is not buyer's remorse, but it is almost like the post-draft clarity when you start looking at other people's teams and things like that. How would you navigate this feeling after a draft? Because I think for the most part, we all get this.
Post-draft clarity. That's we could do a whole podcast on the difference between post-draft.
That's right.
But, I think that's one of the reasons why I always strive for balance, like I don't have like this elite brain that can figure out mathematical equations. That's why I always kind of default to common sense, I mean, it would make sense to strive for balance as you're drafting. This way, you're not pigeonholed into one direction. You could stay free because you're not, pressured to address one area because you've evenly addressed all areas. And I like to put forth the best possible starting lineup. And you're not going to do that if you draft 7 straight wide receivers, unless you're in a league that allows you to start 7 wide receivers. So, I guess the trade market is what you're looking at. You just got to look long and hard at other people's rosters, see where other people have deficiencies. Obviously, you're going to be looking at a team that is a little weak at receiver. Maybe somebody has remorse. That's the opposite of yours. Bizarre remorse. They're like, man, I took too many running backs. And I got skank at receiver. I got Isaac Tesla as my number 2 receiver.
Right. And a lot of this, look, it's about how you go into a draft. The way I avoid this, unfortunately, really starts before your draft kicks off. It is going in there with no plan. Not no plan, but do not go in there telling yourself you need this guy. You need to take this player. You need to build. I refuse to draft a running back in the first 4 rounds. No, if a running back insanely falls to you in that second round, smash that button. Like, always being able to maneuver your predetermined choices in the name of drafting the best balanced team you can will always prevail. Otherwise, like Guru said, the waiver wire this year is going to be more important than ever. In my opinion, that's your best way to rebound, but also trusting your instincts, trust your draft. Let's see how a few weeks play out and just shake it off. I think you're going to be more than okay. And
real quick. Here's a team I drafted last night, literally 12 hours ago. FFPC main event. I got the 12 spot. And as I've said forever, like at that spot, you got the back-to-backs. It's really hard not to diversify because you have that such a long wait there. So here's the draft. Believe it or not, I took Malik Neighbors. He fell to 12. Brian Thomas and Nico were gone. So I'm like, I do place a high priority on that stud wide receiver. Come back, Malik Neighbors, Derrick Henry again. Then I go Marvin Harrison because I'm kind of feeling it. And I'm at this point, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm swinging for the fences here. I got Malik Neighbors. So I go Marvin Harrison. Come back, Ken Walker. Jameson. So now there you go. Balance. Through 5 rounds, I've got 3 good receivers. Okay. Neighbors, Harrison, Jameson. 2 very good running backs. Henry, Walker. Where did I go next? Tight end premium, Tom. You know where I went.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Hawkinson.
That's
Come
right.
Back. Debo. balance. Then I actually, maybe this is a bad pick, but I took Charbonnet. I'm like,
I think it's a fine pick.
yeah, because I have Walker. Then I took Judkins. Then I took Christian Kirk, who, by the way, is a good one in terms of a late vibe. Brenton Strange, love Strange. Rashad White, my guy. Of course, rounds 13 and 14, J.J. McCarthy and Jordan Love. Kareem Hunt, Romeo Dobbs. Didn't get my Vikings deep. Got the Bills, Dalton Schultz. Nobody gives a rat's ass about Dalton Schultz, but I do in tight end premium. Chris Boswell, and believe it or not, I took Amari Cooper. Could be the first. It could be the first guy I cut, but I thought that was another good draft.
Yeah, again, and like I said, it's balance and having confidence in what you're doing, which can be a very hard part in this game. Especially if you draft a bunch of teams, you're gonna like some more than others, and there's always that couple of teams that you're drafting is you're like, man, they have all the hot, flashy Twitter favorites. So that's important to note. We have to talk about Caleb Johnson before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Moggs mentioned Caleb Johnson RB3 in the Pittsburgh depth chart, and asked again, is Caleb Johnson still a stash? Caleb Johnson is not just a stash. Caleb Johnson is still one of those must roster type players.
Yeah.
I said this last week, Guru, if you remember, we cannot fear a running back in a committee because every running back seemingly is tied to a committee except for 4 guys every year. Jaylen Warren was never just going away. Caleb Johnson was never getting 95% of the snaps. If you were in on Caleb Johnson before, the extension should not turn you off of Caleb Johnson, in my opinion. Forget the depth chart stuff. Alvin Kamara was the third running back on the depth chart when he was a rookie. We need to understand that this is just what NFL teams do. Rookies have to, quote, earn it.
Sure. Well,
that's how I've seen.
Yeah. And look, it's not a great sign that they extended Warren. I mean, it's not hardly the end of the world, though. I mean, I think it's a pretty good sign for Warren. We also have Kenny Gainwell involved. Here's my thought. I was not a Caleb Johnson person pre-draft and all that, and I have not seen enough to change that opinion. The vibes haven't been all that great. However, not waffling here, but I do understand. Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, Jaylen Warren, I've always said, is not a true primary back. You know, like certainly not a foundational back. Number two, they drafted Caleb Johnson for a reason. You know, they view him as a good fit for the scheme. So I'm not listing him as a target, but believe me, in the back of my mind, I'm looking at him and I'm like, you know, if I really, even if I was up against it in round 8 and I had to take one of these two or they were the two best, if I felt at that time that I wanted an upside guy, I probably would take Caleb Johnson. I mean, I think you could argue the upside of Caleb Johnson over the course of the season might be one of the more slept on stories this summer, but he also hasn't been great. So I think it's probably going to take a while here. I don't know what kind of value he'll have the first 4, 5, 6 weeks. So I'm not that into it, but I'm definitely still expecting him to make some noise this year, something perhaps considerable in the second half of the season.
That's right. Like most rookies. Right? We're always looking for more of a second half thing anyway. We got one more question sneaked in here with the $9.99 super chat from Andrew Scanlon in a PPR 12-man league, 2 running back, 2 flex, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. How do we feel about having really good bench pieces, or more important, have amazing starters and waiver guys in the bench like Thornton, Marks, and Gordon? This is an easy answer for me. I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
Well, I mean, I think ideally, can we get bench depth that consists of players who could be major needle movers? I mean, you know, unless a guy is squarely on your side in terms of potentially helping you at any given week, you know, what are you keeping around for, really? I mean, unless there's nothing on the waiver wire. So I'm a little bit more about give me the best possible starting lineup, and on my bench, you know, protection for that lineup, handcuffs, and more than not, I'd like to have players who could all of a sudden be hot waiver wire commodities. This way, they're already on my team, so I don't need to overbid them. Like, you know, Thornton, those are good ones right there. Thornton and Marks, and Ollie Gordon, right? Yeah. Right. I'd rather have those types because at the end of the day, as Scott Barrett has been saying, like, you know, It's just a bunch of guys. They're all the same.
Right.
So you might as well on your bench. You could probably pick up a replacement player a minute before kickoff and get decent production. So you might as well be inclined to fill that bench with potential needle movers.
That's right. When you've got a very short starting lineup like this, studs make the difference. The chances of some, late round RB really breaking through that isn't, like a James Conner-esque producer is slim to none for you. I would only be looking at premium handcuffs like a Charbonnet or maybe even a Will Shipley, etc. Maybe some, but I want studs. Studs win these types of settings. Studs win these types of leagues. I'm happy to trade all of my late rounds, etc., in drafts to fill this up. So that's the way we would approach it. Scott wants to know, yes, I am in Canada. I am from Manitoba. And the question we're going to end this on, I thought it would be funny, and I'm not going to mess the name up this time. Chief Librarian Mayonnaise says, how much a super chat for full hump day with Guru in disc jockey mode?
Yeah. Well, my style was very conversational. I used to, and I've been doing this for 8 years since I was in 8th grade, is make fun of the fake radio announcer guy. So I was not a guy. I was like, good morning, coming at you. So, somebody once called me on Sirius years ago, because when I started the morning show, I started like, good morning. They were like, oh, you're ripping off Howard Stern. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, first of all, I love Howard. I'm friends with a lot of his group there. But most importantly, when I was in 8th grade, I had one of those tape recorders with a little suction cup that you could record. You could put the suction cup on a phone, even a pay phone, and record the conversation. So in 1982, I would prank call people as a fake disc jockey. I was 13 years old. So anyway, I've been doing that forever. I just love the fake announcer guy, like Joe Davis. Joe Davis, who does the Fox football. Well, he also does the Dodgers full time, and when he's a great broadcaster, but when he broadcasts like a big moment, he creates so much momentum. It's like like a big receiver like DK Metcalf. Like, he's got to throttle down. It takes a while, But Joe Davis will call. He's like, long drive. She is gone. Nah. He's got to like end it with a nah. So, like that kind of stuff, like the try hard stuff. I've been making fun of that since I was 12 years old. But when I was normally on the air, I'd be like, yo, what's up? 20 past the hour. Here's some Led Zepp. Getting the lead out, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like kind of like that. That's kind of how I talk, very conversationally. But, we could do it. We could coming at you here. Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback, the complicated fella, Aaron Rodgers.
That's right. We used to, when I was in broadcasting in school, we would always make fun of the guys, the Tin Men from back in the 50s. So we what a pal, That's right. So we would always kind of do that. I just thought it was funny. And just to answer this last $4.99 super chat, what about guys like Pearsall, Harvey, and JMO? Those are all upside guys. Those guys are more than fine. Wouldn't be trading them away. If you got them, keep them. Those are the type of guys, if you're going to have them on your bench, to have, because they are potential league and week winners. So that's the difference between those guys and guys like Thornton and Woody Marks. And
Andrew, mark the tape, mark the time. You'll be back. Let's just get it on record on Wednesday, September 3rd at 11:36. I love all three of those dudes. Pearsall, Jameson, and Harvey. I like the least of them, but I still like Harvey. But those three are all going to be good. That would be my contention. Any stragglers? Any? We don't want people. I know we want to cut it off too as well. Make this like a very happening 60 minutes.
I think we've got most of the big questions. And like I said, if you feel like your question got missed, we apologize. We can't only do so many, but you can leave those questions in the comment section as soon as the video is done. And I guarantee that they will be answered in short order. I am around for that. That's what I do. That's what I am here for, is to take care of every single one of you. I believe we've got the big heavy hitters on this day's show, Guru. So if you have final thoughts, please let us share before we get out of here.
No, I mean, I think I'm done drafting. I think I'm done with the takes for the season. Today might be the most annoying day of the year because it's like holiday weekend's over. Most of our drafts are over, but there's no football tonight. We're in no man's land, but only one more day. And at least we do have that injury report coming down. So there's some news here, but yeah, fired up for another season. We'll be back. We'll try and narrow it down and make it like, if we limit it to 60 minutes, then maybe that 60 minutes will be sizzling, so let's just do that. And then next week we'll be back and we'll have some content at the top. That'll be a lot of the trading stuff, the marketplace after one
That's
week,
right.
like who we buying low, who we selling high. But yeah, otherwise I'm ready to rock and roll. I'll have the props up tomorrow and Hansen's hints over the weekend, and we're back.
That's right. I can't wait. It's officially football season. I'm excited. Don't miss all the great content we have coming out. DFS Cage Match, that is back as of tonight. That goes live. Jake Tribby, Neil Orfield, joined by Scott Barrett this week for the first kickoff on the content for that. We've got the Thursday start and sit just before the Thursday night football game. We've got cashing points on Friday, followed by the drafter party. We have got Outside the Box on Saturday with Scott Barrett and Neil Orfield.
The matchup show as well with me, Brett Whitefield, and Graham Barfield on Thursday.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And that'll be available in podcast format as well. And then we also have final points as well for all those tough start and sits. I'm excited. It's full content swing here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But that's going to do it for this week's Hump Day. John Hansen and myself, Thomas Tipple. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. And as John would always say,
you're welcome.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week on Hump Day for Hansen.
What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.